It is my pleasure to invite Mr. Paul Hadjy, Vice President of APAC and Cybersecurity Services at Bitdefender, to the stage. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Hi. Cool. I realize I'm the only thing standing between you all and lunch, so I'll try to be quick. Cool. So a bit about me and Bitdefender and my background. So myself, I spent quite a bit of my early career originally with the U.S. government, and then I spent about 6 years at Palantir, which is like a big data cybersecurity company that predominantly historically was in the U.S. but kind of expanded globally. After that, I went to work at Grab, where I ran their security team before starting Harangi. So Harangi was a company we founded in 2016 that essentially focused on sort of helping companies with cybersecurity services, as well as cloud security and compliance. So we had our flagship product, Warden, which is now called CSPM Plus, which essentially helped companies with, it's a cloud security posture management solution. So essentially help companies with security and compliance in their AWS, GCP, Azure cloud infrastructure. And also had services through that. We were headquartered in Singapore, had about 130 employees before we got acquired by Bitdefender in 2023. So Bitdefender has about a little over 2,000 employees now that Harangi has been fully integrated into the business. But we have three distinct businesses at Bitdefender. So the first one is our consumer business. So we're one of the biggest consumer AV players in the world. We also have a B2B business, which is what I run for APAC after the acquisition. So that business targets businesses of all sizes, helping them with security, mostly on the endpoint, but have quite a few other products as well. And we have customers pretty much all around the world, right? So customers in over 180 countries. We're a predominantly channel-driven business. And we also, the third part of our business is OEM. So a lot of our customers utilize our products through other people's products. So we white label our products for other companies to use and sell as their own. And that's kind of how we, what's interesting about us is we have a lot of endpoints out there on different types of devices. So not just on B2B devices like a lot of other players. We also have consumer devices, and we also have even additionally more devices that are deployed through our OEM business. So I think this is one big unique thing about Bitdefender, and on the next slide, I'll touch on some of the numbers, which kind of explains that. So we see about 30 billion threats every day. So that's through a multitude of our business. So of course the consumer AV, the endpoint, but also our MDR service. We discover quite a lot of threats, and we're one of the biggest threat intel providers as well, because of the amount of endpoints we have deployed. We also spend a lot of time on helping governments as well as businesses doing and writing decryptors. So we've written and published a couple of decryptors, or quite a few decryptors, to help companies sort of recover from ransomware or individuals. Have almost 100,000 business customers. Saved a lot of money for people with those ransomware decryptors. So $1.6 billion. And a majority of our company is actually R&D. So we're a Romanian company and headquartered in Romania, but have operations globally. And we also have almost 500 patents through a variety of our technologies. Cool. So onto the topic. So these I thought were just some interesting trends about cybersecurity and AI. So most IT leaders know that all of us are using AI to enable our own jobs, and a lot of that's happening outside of the sort of traditional, corporate usage of AI. So people utilizing ChatGPT to write emails, review resumes, all these things. I think most IT departments know are happening, but don't have very much control over monitoring it. Also, a lot of people believe that large language models are really helping with phishing. So I've noticed this as well. I'm sure everyone's noticed it, that phishing sort of techniques and the phishing targeting is getting much better. And a lot of people are utilizing AI to do that. Nothing revolutionary there, but it is definitely helping people write better phishing and more targeted emails, as well as doing that research quicker. Yeah, and I think everyone has utilized AI in some way to make better decisions, whether that's around cybersecurity or not. It is becoming a highly utilized solution to help people make better decisions. Yeah, and I think even security professionals as well are sort of looking at AI as a way to sort of make their jobs easier, help them focus on the things they want to focus on, and really sort of improving the security capabilities of organizations globally. Cool. So what have we seen? I think these are just a couple examples of what we see in terms of characteristics around AI-driven cyber attacks, as well as the specific types. So a lot of attack automation, like basically using AI to efficiently gather data inside of our organization, customization, so that of course includes phishing, but also sometimes malware. Yeah, employee targeting, so being able to quickly look through an organization and understand who might be vulnerable and then why we would want to target them. I think all of those things make it a lot easier for an attacker to focus on an organization and get in faster. The different types, of course, they're utilizing social engineering, deepfakes, phishing, malicious ransomware attacks, and GPTs as well. All of that combined with AI is increasing sort of the attack capability of the attackers. Two semi-recent sort of examples of that. TaskRabbit, definitely in their case, there was a AI-enabled bot that was used to DDoS them. And Yum Brands, which if you don't know is like Taco Bell and KFC, AI was used to breach them back in January of 2023. Yeah, and the tool specifically in this case was used to leverage and find the important data that was then extracted from the organization. Cool. AI-powered cyber. So this is kind of just like the way the landscape has changed over the years. So obviously in the 80s and 90s, like digitization was kind of a big part of everyone's life and something that's been quite important. And then in 2000, 2010, cloud became a bit more popular, actually closer to 2010 than 2000. But definitely the utilization of SaaS as well as cloud sort of had the upcoming. And now in the 2020s, we're looking a bit more at AI. So that has been a big part of all of us in terms of how we do our daily jobs. It's changing that, and it is providing benefits, but also there is sort of vulnerabilities there as well. Cool. So what we believe and what I believe on the human-computer symbiosis is how AI and humans can work together, and what the utilization of AI has done for us. So obviously, like I still believe humans are going to be an important part of the sort of integration of AI into business, and that symbiosis and collaboration between humans and AI will make humans, better. The computers can do what they're good at in terms of analyzing data quickly, but the humans are the ones asking the questions. And ultimately, in cyber, not yet at least, we're actually facing another human on the other end of an AI model. And that's usually probably going to be the case for the near future. So enabling us to make decisions quickly and knowing that there's another human on the side is going to be an important part of that strategy. AI is already enriching a lot of people in different jobs. I think in SOCs around the world, including in ours, AI is a big part of how the analysts kind of analyze the data that they're seeing, because they are seeing a lot of data. So it really helps filter up the information up into the analysts so they can make decisions quicker. Yeah, and I think in general, like it's augmenting currently. It is making certain parts of their job obsolete, but that also is lifting them up to focus on the more important problems that they're facing in a security operations center. So what is Bitdefender doing? So I think we talked a little bit about their acquisition of Harangi. That's one of the investments that they make. So we've been investing in buying companies in different spaces that are adjacent to what we do. So by acquiring Harangi, they got a cloud security product, which is now integrated into Bitdefender's Gravity Zone, which utilizes AI and is all interconnected within the data. Harangi's services business is now also integrated. So a lot of the vulnerabilities that we find when doing pen testing, as well as sort of compliance, that gets integrated back into the product. Yeah, and I think one thing that we've been working on this since 2018. So it's been a big part of how we sort of build the AI and data analysis into our product. And utilizing AI to fight AI is a really important part of the strategy, because there is things that AI can do faster than humans. And of course, like if you don't have that capability on both, if you don't have the capability on the defense side, then it's very hard to mitigate it from the offensive side. Yeah, and I think Gravity Zone, which is our sort of endpoint and overall security platform, does use AI to filter up the important data for the analysts to look at and allow companies or SOCs or MSPs to make those decisions better. Yeah, I mean, we have a large team that focuses on this. Another thing that we do, I think that is quite important and a big part of our business and strategy is we work quite closely with law enforcement. So we do work closely with them on sort of integrating our solutions, sharing data when necessary, as well as providing ransomware decryptors and helping to sort of reduce the global cybercrime threat. Cool. Risk management, yeah, so I think these are just some important statistics. I'll touch on some of them. But the global cost of cybercrime is growing. So I think Cybersecurity Ventures put out a study that said the expected cost is about $10.5 trillion, which is a lot of money. Yeah, and I think like AI-driven malware and attacks, like everyone's probably been seeing them. But you know, the increase is significant over the past couple of years in terms of AI usage in malware and in phishing attacks, et cetera. So consistently, it's going to continue to grow. And that is why I think it's quite important for us sort of protecting businesses and individuals to also be utilizing it. Yeah. Deepfakes, AI-powered phishing, and adversarial AI, I think is a huge thing as well. I think everyone's seen the increase in the betterment of phishing sort of emails over the years. And the past 2 years specifically, like a lot of the phishing emails, at least that I've seen, have gotten a lot better. And I would equate some of that to AI. I also believe it enables attackers to be much more broad and utilize AI to create more sophisticated campaigns that are targeted easier and faster. Yeah, and I think automation, like there's some stats from Capgemini and CSO Online. But yeah, like basically sort of the defensive folks are utilizing AI as well to help protect businesses, which is an important part of this. Yeah, and I think risk management, you know, a lot of this, when you see the deepfake stuff, can be sort of thwarted by systems or processes. But in this specific case, there was a $35 million wire fraud with a bank in the UAE. Essentially, they got targeted with a voice attack, and they used deepfake audio to pretend to be one of the bank's directors. And then you know, we're able to get the bank to actually wire the money to an unknown account and got away with the money before the bank could sort of react, right? So this does happen. There's another study in Hong Kong that happened, or a case study in Hong Kong that happened recently as well. But these are happening all the time, right? And you know, they're thwarting organizations that are quite sort of invested in cybersecurity and compliance, but they're still able in some cases to get them to send money to places that they wouldn't want to be sending money to. Cool, so tips, I mean, this is kind of just high level stuff, but basically investing in the basics is quite an important part of thwarting a lot of these attacks. So EPP, EDR, so having an endpoint solution in place that can help you on the low level, understanding what's happening in your environment. XDR as well, so not only just on the endpoint, but in your infrastructure, understanding and be able to thwart some of the cybersecurity issues that may come up and hitting things across your infrastructure, not just the endpoints themselves. MDR, I think we're seeing huge sort of explosion in this, and this is mainly because of a lot of the types of attacks are getting more sophisticated. And MDR is managed detection and response, but essentially it's a team that is monitoring your endpoint and infrastructure 24/7 and is reacting, right? I think a lot of these cases, you know, the thing that gets the companies is the time to detection, but with an MDR team, your time to detection will be significantly better, allowing you to react quicker and hopefully prevent a lot of these attacks. It's a huge piece that a lot of companies aren't investing in, but in our industry, we're seeing a lot more people sort of adopting MDR over time. Virtual CISO, like, you know, if you're a small enough business to not have your own internal security team, having an external party or someone supporting you and sort of making decisions around security is key. And I think that's a small investment in most cases, but something that can really help you understand your compliance risks as well as security risks and where you should invest. Because a lot of times small businesses specifically don't know where to invest, which I think can be tricky if you're not a security professional or an IT person. Pen testing and red teaming, we're seeing a lot of sort of increase in that across the region because of some regulatory requirements. So a lot of financial institutions are requiring red teaming for their organizations. And this is because like it is a way to test your defense against sophisticated attacks. And in our case, we provide basically cybersecurity experts that will write their own malware and do a sophisticated attack on the organization so it knows how to respond. And this is one of the things that as you become more sophisticated in cybersecurity as a business, it's an important part of kind of testing your infrastructure and being able to know how you respond, know where your weak points are, and then hopefully fix them when being tested, not in actual events. Cool. Yeah, so I think more stats on just regulatory and compliance, but yeah, adhering to data compliance and regulations is one of the biggest challenges that a lot of organizations have, especially in the SME and mid-market space. And this is just because like it is hard, right? There's a lot of different certifications out there that companies want to get because customers are asking them for it. They don't know which one. They don't know where to invest to get those. We see that happen a lot, and we work with a lot of customers on that. ISO is pretty popular in Asia, and I think SOC 2, which is more US-centric, or at least historically has been, is becoming much more popular in Asia. So we see a lot more customers asking for SOC 2 compliance these days rather than ISO, but we still see a lot of customers actually asking for ISO as well. There's a lot of different regulatory changes in the region. So pretty much every country in the region has released some version of a PDPA solution, Thailand, of course, included. But this is just most of the governments investing in helping to protect the consumers' data within the region. Of course, the companies are the ones that have to comply with that, and that's an important part of doing business, is making sure you have complied with that and are protecting your data. So we get a lot of questions around that. Of course, products can help you with that, but ultimately there's a service element and training as well. So we help a lot of companies in that journey because it is a journey. It's not an easy thing in most cases, especially if you're a large company, because there's a lot of investment that has to be done to get that done and get that done correctly across an organization. Yeah, and then we're seeing this a lot. So of course, on the consumer side of our business, we deal with a lot of sort of inbound requests from consumers or issues they're facing. In one of our cybersecurity assessments, text messaging sort of scams are like one of the major things that most people are seeing. And I live in Singapore, but I get like 1 or 2 a day, as well as scam calls. I also get quite a lot of scam calls. So I think like it is becoming more and more common, and of course, like it wouldn't happen that much if it wasn't effective, right? So someone's actually falling for these things and pushing themselves and others to like push it out. Singapore has done some things there, but we keep seeing the increase in sort of cybersecurity scams targeting individuals. Yeah, lots of fines, 2.6 million in Singapore to date. Yeah, and then there's other some of the loss numbers I think are quite high as well, and we're part of the Global Anti-Scam Alliance. But yeah, scams in 2023 was about 1 trillion, which again is huge numbers we're talking about. Yeah, and I think this is just a story of a breach that happened to OpenAI, which essentially there was a bug that was releasing data that was part of their platform in terms of integrating with ChatGPT, and yeah, they did get fined by the Italian authorities, unfortunately for that. But this is happening a lot, like to all companies. And in this case, it was a bug that was just releasing. It wasn't necessarily still considered a cyber event, but it wasn't someone attacking them, but then could utilize the platform to do it. So quite interesting on that one. Yeah, and again, I think similar sort of solutions here, but different reasons. So endpoint compliance. So these days, a lot of endpoint solutions will let you know how compliant your endpoints are. with the different standards. So we've launched this, but essentially you can use the solution to understand your compliance with different standards based upon what's actually running on your machines. Cloud security, so Harangi's product, and now it's called CSPM Plus, does global compliance standards. So MES TRM in Singapore, Bank of Thailand regulations, Thai PDPA, all of these things can be configured for your cloud environment to essentially look and understand what security issues you have and how you may or may not comply with whatever standards are relevant for you. In our case, there's over 50 standards that we help companies comply with. That's regional as well as global. MDR is another one, I think, spelling error there, but 24/7. Yeah, I think it's a huge one, and more sort of regional regulations are requiring this. So they're requiring that you have 24/7 monitoring. Some companies choose to outsource this. Some companies choose to build it themselves. But it is a key part of kind of adhering to compliance standards, is having that 24/7 monitoring. Yeah, depending on your organization, what may be better for you, and to internalize it or not. But it is a key thing there. Yeah, and then again, I think some of the other things I touched on the services side. The other thing that I think is interesting is, like, for the consumers, there is a lot of consumer solutions out there. One thing we have, which is called a scam co-pilot, which essentially helps organizations or individuals understand whether something they've been said potentially is a scam. And we use that by categorizing a lot of the data we have from the consumer business, but allows people to upload basically text messages or emails and see if potentially it could be a scam. I think these types of tools are going to be super useful, and especially helping the individuals understand what threats they may have. Cool, and that was it. Saved you 4 minutes for lunch. Cool. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, Paul Hadjy, Vice President of APAC and Cybersecurity Services at Bitdefender. Once again, please help scan the QR code on the screen here to share with us your feedback so we can continuously improve. I'll do a quick wrap up in Thai as we have a little bit. Oh, we're going for lunch afterwards. Okay. สำหรับเซสชันของคุณพอลนะคะคุณพอลได้แชร์ค่ะตอนแรกเลยค่ะว่า AI เนี่ยเป็นส่วนหนึ่งของชีวิตการทำงานของทุกๆคนนะคะและรวมไปถึงตอนนี้เนี่ยในเรื่องของ Cyber Attack ค่ะก็มีหลายๆ Attacker นะคะที่เริ่มการใช้ AI มากยิ่งขึ้นนะคะในการ Attack ต่างๆนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของการ Automate นะคะการเก็บรวบรวม Data ค่ะการ Customize นะคะหรือว่าการเรียนรู้ข้อมูลนะคะของคนที่เขาต้องการที่จะโจมตีนะคะรวมถึงมุ่งเป้าหมายนะคะมากขึ้นไปที่พนักงานด้วยนะคะคุณพอลจึงเล่าให้ฟังนะคะถึงการบริหารความเสี่ยงค่ะและการปฏิบัติตามข้อกำหนดต่างๆนะคะโดยการใช้ AI powered Cybersecurity นั่นเองนะคะซึ่งหลักๆก็คือการเน้นนะคะนำเทคโนโลยีปัญญาประดิษฐ์นะคะมาใช้ในการตรวจจับประเมินนะคะและลดความเสี่ยงค่ะที่เกี่ยวข้องกับภัยคุกคามต่างๆนะคะทางไซเบอร์เพื่อช่วยเสริมแล้วก็รักษาความปลอดภัยนะคะด้วยการตรวจหาช่องโหว่ต่างๆอย่างอัตโนมัตินะคะแล้วก็จะช่วยให้ตอบสนองต่อภัยคุกคามได้นะคะอย่างรวดเร็วนั่นเองค่ะจะทำให้คนใช้นะคะสามารถมั่นใจได้ค่ะว่าการดำเนินการเนี่ยเป็นไปตามมาตรฐานแล้วก็ข้อกำหนดนั่นเองนะคะโดยคุณพอลค่ะได้เล่าให้ฟังถึงกลยุทธ์ของ Bitdefender นะคะว่า Bitdefender มีการลงทุนใน AI มากยิ่งขึ้นนะคะรวมถึงมีการ collaborate นะคะระหว่างคนและ AI ค่ะเพื่อให้เกิด intelligence นะคะที่มีประสิทธิภาพมากขึ้นค่ะโดย flagship product ของ Bitdefender อย่างเช่น Gravity Zone นะคะปัจจุบันก็ได้มีการใช้ AI นะคะเข้ามาเพื่อช่วยให้วิธีการป้องกันนะคะการคุกคามทางไซเบอร์เนี่ยเป็นไปได้อย่างดีขึ้นนั่นเองค่ะและสุดท้ายนะคะคุณพอลย้ำว่าการบริหารความเสี่ยงนะคะปัจจุบันเพิ่มขึ้นนะคะพร้อมกับ risk ต่างๆที่เพิ่มขึ้นค่ะไม่ว่าจะเป็น deepfake นะคะ AI automation นะคะ AI driven malware ต่างๆและ cyber crime โดยรวมนั่นเองค่ะซึ่ง tools ปัจจุบันนะคะเรามีเครื่องมือมากมายเพื่อช่วยเพิ่มความปลอดภัยนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็น pen test EPP นะคะ EDR ค่ะ XDR นะคะ MDR หรือว่า red teaming นั่นเองนะคะซึ่งจะช่วยให้ความปลอดภัยของแต่ละองค์กรเนี่ยพัฒนายิ่งขึ้นนั่นเองค่ะ Thank you so much for joining us in the morning session, and we look forward to seeing you back here at the main stage at 1 p.m. I hope you enjoy your lunch and take some time to explore the exhibition.